I am very, very, very angry right now. I just spent the last 20 or so minutes recording my gameplay live so that I could make a video on the Object 268, an absolutely fantastic vehicle, which I obviously talked all about during my gameplay. And then I realized that my game looked like this on my recording. For any of you that are unaware, I have a very large monitor. Unfortunately, with size comes some downsides, and the downside is that it physically does not show everything that my monitor can see on a normal 16 by 9 aspect ratio, which is what YouTube videos are. So, because of that, I normally don't have my game in full screen when I'm playing for you guys, and it's more like a well, here you can actually see what it looks like. This is kind of what it looks like here, because this is the entire size of my monitor stretched across. So that's kind of how it is. Unfortunately, I forgot to minimize my game while playing and putting it in windowed mode. So the two battles I played live was almost unwatchable. So what we're going to do is take a look at the two replays I had in the 268, the one being on Oasis Palms and the other being on Himmelsdorf, and showcase the 268 in replays. So imagine this is live gameplay. Either way, let's start off with the Himmelsdorf battle. This was actually the second game I played, but I thought I'd show this one first because this was a crazy battle, and it doesn't come off as crazy what was actually going on in-game, but still an absolutely crazy game nonetheless. The enemy team has a Bosch Chatillon 25-ton. They have a TVP 5051, and that's all they got for mediums. Okay. Oh, and an E50M. Almost missed that one. They also got an IS-7 and a Kampfpanzer 70 when it comes to heavies, and finishing off two tank destroyers, a WZ-111 1GFT, and a Contra Caro. Now, we can see the enemy TVP, and ooh, an absolutely badonkerous slap into his vehicle, dealing 855 damage per shot. That's pretty nice. The Object 268 features a very beautiful 1000 HE damage slap on average. So we actually got really lowballed there on our roll and did about 145 less than what it should have. But you know what? We make up for it with a 778 tap into the enemy Contra Caro Mark II. So there's yin and there's yang. I'll take it though. We're up to 1600 damage in 2 shots out of our vehicle. Looks like the TVP hasn't had enough of me yet. So you can see the TVP shooting at me, and then I'm like, well, I'll wait for you to turn your tank. He did. Ooh, 2600 damage dealt in 3 shells. That's pretty nasty. The Object 268 is just an amazing tank for so many situations. You can see right here, for example, we're able to use the great traverse and mobility, which the vehicle features a fantastic top speed of 48 and a traverse speed of 48 degrees a second as well. I actually was thinking I was having a stroke there because I was like, the top speed 48 and the traverse speed, yes, is also 48. Both very similar. Not only that, but the reverse speed is 18, allowing this tank to be very flexible. And you'll also notice the DPM is very solid at 2,800, even with calibrated. It's about 3,000 with rammer. So we've been taking advantage of all the 268's attributes this game. We bounced some shells at a 1,300-ish bounced. We've also done some very nice damage at 4,000 so far. And even though we are going to die to this enemy E50M, we still were able to finish off this battle in just a 2-minute time period, 4,574 damage, which is absolutely monstrous when you think about it for how short that game was. The Object 268 has the ability to not only go in the front line and use its mobility, its armor, and I wouldn't say the armor is amazing, but it's not bad. As I said, we blocked 1,470 in that game, which is very nice. But it's just the fact that you can use the mobility, the armor, the decent accuracy, the good DPM, the alpha. The 268 has so many good things going for it. And I'll be honest, I played a couple games before recording, and they weren't the best games ever. Some of them were 1,300 damage, one of them was like a 2,000. It actually took me until these 2 last battles to do well in the tank. And that's just because the first couple of games I was trying to play it like I did in this battle, more like a tank destroyer. Unfortunately, what ended up happening was that my teams fell apart and I didn't really get into the battle quick enough. So what I started doing is playing this tank a bit more midline, and that's what I did in that Himmelsdorf game, and that's where the tank really worked well. And that's how you should be using a 268. Even though it has some of the best camo in tier 10 if you're sitting still, it's actually a lot better, at least in my eyes, when you use the tank midline. Now, you're going to see where the camo works very well, but after Wargaming kind of nerfed the accuracy on the tank, it it's just not nearly as good as it used to be for staying further back and getting nice slaps in. So we can see the Super Conqueror, we can see the Progetto. Alright, well, let's see what we can shoot here. The enemy team has a lot of nice tanks to farm, and judging that the enemy medium has already been spotted over on A side, it means that as of right now, there's not too much we have to worry about. Ooh, yeah! 744 slap into the enemy T110E3 across the entirety of the map. That's not a bad slap at all. Alright, well that's not a bad beginning. Let's go for the Yag, aiming a shell right at his lower plate, and that's a great example there of the dispersion on the tank. The .344 is the same as an IS-4, which means that, yeah, I'm basically just launching heavy tank shells at the enemies here, which is not great for our dispersion. Watch this. I'm going to shoot at the Yag superstructure. A fairly simple shell, aiming right in, fire. What? What? I mean, it penned. I'm not going to complain. It was a low roll, but still, it was a pen. And that should not have penned. I don't even know where that shell went. But, yeah, okay, I'll take it. I'll take what I can get. Just, again, great example of where the accuracy on the 268 is not amazing. And, again, another great example here. Wow, that shell went so high it actually almost missed the 183. So you can definitely see where the 268's accuracy is not actually amazing for staying in the back, and it's a lot more effective in my opinion at actually staying more towards the midline. We shoot at the Progetto, and it was just a bit slow of a shell velocity. If I had honestly shot it just maybe half a second sooner, that shell would have gone right into the prog. I just didn't really get the grasp of the shell velocity from how far away we are, which is probably a good 500 meters from where we shot. But it's fine, because the prog plays like a poob, sits out in the open, allows me to clear him anyway, so not a bad result. Now we got the enemy FE2 and 5B183 driving like another poob right out into the open, allowing me to kill him. I don't know why he tried yellowing our Progetto, but our E50M, right? No, we do have a Progetto. We had two mediums this game. I just didn't even notice we had a prog because he kind of came out of nowhere. We got the E3 in the back. Fire. Boom. There you go. Sometimes the shells fly true. And when they do, and you have that 670 damage per shot, you're able to get very glorious rolls like that. 666, finishing off the E3, bringing us up to 3,400 damage already. All right, well, we got the E100, and, well, we're going to take a nice shot into him. Big low roll there. Wow. That's 100 less than our average damage, but we still broke 4,000 damage. So at this point, we're doing pretty solid. Not a bad shout at all. Okay, well, we got the U100 chilling over there, and at this point, I was just trying to think of what we wanted to do. We have two Yags, and I don't know if they're in platoon. They are not. Wargaming just decided to give us two frontline, basically, tank destroyers. So our Yags are absolutely riddling that E100 with shells. Unfortunately, they don't kill the E100. You can see I was staying behind cover, hoping that I wouldn't have to get detected by this E100 and I could squeeze my way into the front line. But unfortunately, I had to be the one to clear the enemy E100. I mean, it's not the end of the world. We're still at a pretty solid chunk of damage. But base capture's going high for the enemy team, and I won't say that they don't have strong tanks still. Even though that Yag is very low health in their team, it's really dependent on... Oh, we got lucky there. We got lucky. I was about to say, it's very dependent on if that shell hits that 60 TP. If it didn't, it could have been a very, very different game. Thankfully, shell flies true, cuts right into the enemy 60, finishes him off, and all that's left is the enemy Jagdpanzer. Bonk! And there you have it. That's 2 solid victories. The Object 268, as you can see illustrated in these two battles, is fantastic at so many different things. It's mobile, it's got accuracy, but not great accuracy at distance. It's got damage per shot, which is fantastic for out-trading your opponents, and it's even got troll armor. When you add all these things together, the 268 is not only good for early game positions when you want to stay at the back and get some early pot shots off, but then using the gun depression and decent mobility to get into the front line and support your team. Overall, I really like the 268. I think it's a super fun, and I won't even say underrated because it's a super popular tank. I'm just kind of hoping Wargaming makes a new legendary camo and gives it PBR. But at the end of the day, super fun tank. Absolutely fabulous when it comes to the gun and everything like that. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comments down below. But there you have it. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.